Hello, everybody, and indeed, welcome to issue number 1, the very first one of the Zombies to Entrepreneurs newsletter. I'm Tony Vito. Most people know me on the internet as Chicago Tony V. It's very nice to meet you. If you're one of the fans of my daily morning podcast, good to see you. How are you? If you're brand new, welcome. Certainly, all of you are brand new to this newsletter. Now, before we get too deeply in, I want to do just a little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, if you're in the newsletter right now watching this video, bless you. Thank you. Thank you for reading. If you have found this video on YouTube through my normal YouTube channel, I just need to explain this video is meant to be a partner to and a part of my Zombies to Entrepreneurs newsletter. So it'll make more sense if you want to go check out that newsletter. You can find it at tonyvito.substack.com. I'll put a link down below this video. If you're in YouTube, it'll make more sense. So welcome, hello to you. So back to the newsletter readers. I just wanted to explain a little bit of who I am and why I created this newsletter. And, we'll just kind of go from there. So as I said, I'm Tony Vito. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have been a business owner for, coming up on 23 years. In the early part of my life, I worked for various organizations. Finally, about 23 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go on my own and work for myself. And I've never looked back. It's been one of the most marvelous things in my life. I have started businesses that failed. I've started businesses that did just fine, and then I went ahead and sold them. I still actually am an owner of a very active business. I've owned that for the full 22 years, now that I think about it. I consider myself really retired, or at least semi-retired. I really don't do much day to day. I'm living the life. I have the American dream. I climbed the mountaintop. I made the money. My time is my own. Life is good. So normally, and at the bottom of this newsletter, I have just a little piece to this effect. I made it. I succeeded. So why am I not just whiling away my hours playing golf and playing poker with buddies and whatever, sitting on the beach? Well, I've done some of that. I have a pretty easy life, truth be told. And it's really kind of sickening. It would probably, it's not fair. It doesn't seem fair, but it is what it is. I'm 51 years old. Just turned 51 in July. And life was going on. I wouldn't necessarily have thought to do this kind of under normal circumstances, but here's what has happened over time, over this pandemic situation. And I think anyone who is paying at least a little attention can see the times they are changing. Everything's changing. It's very unsure. It almost feels in many ways like we're headed into just a very dangerous phase of our lives. Everyone on the planet, I was going to say all Americans, but by golly, it's darn near everyone. And what I've noticed is that as I have connected with people and friends and family, and everyone talks about what's going on. What I noticed along the way is that my entrepreneur friends and myself were really behaving very, very differently in response to this situation. Call it what you will, the pandemic, the Great Reset, who knows what it is, okay? My entrepreneur friends and myself, we've been behaving very differently from, maybe you call them normal people, I'm not sure, but kind of everyone else. And I think the way I would describe it is that most people around me have just not done much of anything. They've been just sitting by, kind of hoping that everything works out and kind of waiting to be told what I'm going to be allowed to do. Am I going to keep my job? Gee, I sure hope so. We'll see what happens. There's been this very passive, it's almost like they're just a passenger on a runaway train. Now, it's very different to think about my entrepreneurial friends and myself. I mean, my business owner buddies, I've had some of the greatest conversations, and I mean, it's hours upon hours. I had one just this morning with a business owner, buddy of mine, and we talked probably 2 hours about what is the landscape, what does it mean, what are we going to do, what's a contingency plan, what are some opportunities. So we just think very, very differently, and over time, I've really become concerned about all my friends and family and just the general public who, again, are just kind of like passengers on a runaway train. And just the long and the short of it is, I've really come to the point where I believe that entrepreneurial skills are going to be a survival skill, maybe a main survival skill. I think we're, I hate to be a negative Nelly, but I think we're in for rough times. I really believe this to my core, even if I'm wrong. What I'm hoping to accomplish with this newsletter will be very valuable and encouraging and inspiring to people nonetheless. So I really hope I'm wrong. I hope I kind of hope for the best case, which is you can ride along and just sort of learn from me and get some inspiration and some ideas, etc. And maybe it really changes your life. Maybe our society is going to be A-okay, little couple bumps here and there, but everything's A-okay. Now, worst case is we're in real trouble, and everyone's job is in peril. People's finances, people's wealth, it's all in peril. I think the information that I'm trying to convey is going to be absolutely critical. Ownership, business ownership. My dad told me years ago something very simple. He said, ownership is where you want to be. Now, my dad was not a business owner. He was a very, very successful executive in a multinational manufacturing firm. He did very, very well for himself. But, he never got to take his foot off the gas pedal. He always had to work extremely hard, push. He was rewarded very, very well. But he did tell me, and I never forgot, ownership is where you want to be. And now that I'm an old fat dude and I can look back, I think he was absolutely right. It certainly made all the difference in my life. So my life looks very different from my dad's life in that I have tons of free time. I can do what I want. My dad was, I would say, extremely wealthy. I haven't really done the math to adjust for the dollars and whatever, but I'm kind of afraid to. He did extremely well for himself. I think a lot of people would probably consider me to be wealthy as well, but I'm doing fine financially, but I'm also just I'm very wealthy in terms of my freedom, my time. My time is my own. I get a very steady income that I probably don't even really need anymore, but it's just because I'm an owner. I'm an entrepreneur, and I was able to set things up. So welcome to the newsletter. I have high hopes. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to do my very best to do this regularly. The main thesis of this episode 1, is, again, why ownership is where you want to be. And really, I'm trying to use this episode of the newsletter to inspire you and to introduce you just kind of to the possibilities, and just to a little bit give my own testimony that, maybe this is planting a seed for you. And by the way, I'm a huge fan. Well, when I think about all my businesses, they all were bootstrapped. So I never borrowed a single dollar. I'm not one of these, go find venture capital and all that stuff. So I literally did it from nothing. And I would also say, for the record, as I said, my dad was very wealthy person. Never borrowed a nickel from my dad, which I'm very, very proud of. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, but I don't have any capital to get started, I don't think you need that, and I'm living proof of that. So I have, and again, this video right here is just I'm trying to just kind of say hello, getting to know you, and just give you a walkthrough on what I was thinking about as I put together this issue number 1 of the Zombies to Entrepreneurs newsletter. That might be a horrible name. I'm not sure. I included a video here from James Altucher. He's a guy that I discovered relatively recently. I find him to be fascinating. He is like me, is a serial entrepreneur. He's probably, compared to me, he's probably a serial entrepreneur on steroids. Like, he might have a problem, but he's done very well for himself. But he's also had some major catastrophes, which he freely talks about. Now, I don't. In my own history, I have not had a catastrophe other than, I mean, I've had a business fail, but I just kind of did it in such a way that I didn't put all my chips in at any given time. I'm a big fan of trying something out and finding a way that you can work a business idea on a low level, almost like an experiment. You don't have to sell the farm to figure out, was it a good idea or not. This is an inspirational video. It's one that I really like from, again, James Altucher. He's written several books. He's tremendous. He's done lots of videos. So if you ever want to dive deep, I'm happy to introduce you to James and his work. I also have an article that's just kind of arguing, if we live in a time where I almost can't imagine a better time to start a business. That sounds crazy because I am also a person that is saying the sky is falling, right? But I think almost in a way, first of all, the uncertain times that we're in, and all these job losses and supply chain issues and all this stuff, part of me thinks, well, this isn't too bad because maybe this is motivational, right? But if you're sitting there, I've met a lot of people that want to work for themselves. They have this dream, and I've helped some people do it along the way. There's a whole lot of people that just kind of never get there. And I'm trying to point out in this second article, the barrier to entry is so low that you kind of have no excuses. So, kick in the butt, let's go. The time is now. The time is now because we're in critical times, very uncertain times, but also the time is now because the technology exists such that, you don't lose anything. You can start a business with nothing or very, very next to nothing. No, I would say nothing. You could probably start a business with absolutely nothing. My last article, my promise to you, I'm just trying to set the stage and help you understand what I'm trying to achieve here. And anyway, so I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to get any feedback. My email address, feel free to email me anytime. Chicago Tony V, like vegetable, @gmail.com is my email. I do this daily morning show called the Chicago Tony V Show. Some of you readers, I'm sure, are fans of that show. It's just a fun thing that I do. It's near and dear to my heart, and I love it, and I've made tremendous friends. This venture with this newsletter is it's something a little more serious. The fans of my podcast, my pepperonis, they see kind of the funny side, and I love life. I have a sense of humor. I think with this newsletter, Zombies to Entrepreneurs, you're going to see a little bit more of my serious side because I think this is a serious topic. I think it's critical. And so I really hope that somehow, some way, I can inspire a few people to go ahead and take the leap. You can start something on the side. I'm a big fan of this side hustle culture. I think it's a great way to try out a business without risking maybe you still have employment. Side hustle is a great way to try something out and see what the market does. Do people like it? Are they going to be buyers? Are you, do you have so much work that you might quit your day job? So you don't have to go all in. You don't have to spend a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I would say, especially now, now's not the time to spend a lot of money. Now's the time to batten down the hatches. But I think it's critical to start thinking about what's your plan B? What's your plan B? That's kind of what it's all about. And so welcome to the newsletter. Thank you for reading. Please share it around. If you know someone that you think might enjoy this, send them to tonyvito.substack.com. I think there's share buttons within the newsletter. I'm new to this, so forgive me. Anyway, if you're new and you've never heard of me, nice to meet you. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, I'll just see you next time. Thank you for reading.